All right, welcome back. Howie Perrette is tuned in. Hey, Howie, Barbara Kitty J, Marianne Semino, Victor Rocavina, Adrian's on there. Susan Steele, hi, Susan. One of my former babysitters. Many of my former babysitters tune in. Um, Unfortunately, but fortunately, I will probably see some of them this evening. I have to attend a wake for someone that's very near and dear to my family. The wonderful Ann Mazzelli has passed. She's one of the patron saints of Eltingville and Macon Avenue, and tonight she'll be celebrated by everyone who loved her, and she's passed. And may she rest in peace, and God bless her. Joe Pinion is one of the best voices out there. A couple years ago when we started doing Liquid Lunch, my partner and managing editor, Frank Morano, said, hey, we got to have this guy Joe on. He's great. And as usual, Frank was right on the money introducing me to Joe, and now he's gone to the highest of heights. He hosts the show Saturday Agenda, fills in on many other shows on the fastest growing cable network in America, Newsmax. And we're joined right now, as we are every Monday, by my buddy, Joe Pinion. Hey, Joey, how are you?
Good to be here, my friend. Happy Monday to you.
Happy Monday to you. Joe, I don't even know where to begin, but I know this. I know Newsmax, we're both loyalists, and we know how hard that network has worked to get where they are. It came under some significant scrutiny. I got my tail kicked in by the social media for reading, that disclaimer a few weeks ago. But it seems like it's an oasis in the desert right now, Newsmax, where they're not canceling people. They're not blocking people. They're just trying to bring the people who care about Trump and care about America the news. What the hell is going on, Joe?
I mean, look, I think you have to look at it holistically, right? Why in the world was there a coordinated effort between three multinational, multi-billion-dollar publicly traded entities, Amazon, Apple, to try to make sure you could take down Parler? Why do they care? Between Twitter, why do you care about Parler with their 4 million active users in comparison to a something like Twitter with over 330 plus million users? Why do you care? Why does Vanity Fair care about Newsmax? Why is Brian Stelter obsessed with Newsmax? And I think it all comes down to the fact that when your currency is control, anything that threatens that control brings you in a light where you don't want to see them succeed. And so I think it's been said quite clearly that Democrats have found a formula that works for them. Their liberal allies in the media have found a formula that works for them. They've seen what they were able to do in this last election. And I think anything that threatens that control, particularly heading into an environment where they know it is more difficult to leverage control because it's easier to be the quote unquote oppositional force than it is to be the force in power. So with Joe Biden about to put his hand on the Bible and swear the oath and become the 46th president of the United States, they are trying to preemptively make a strike against any type of dissenting conservative voices. And I think that should concern everybody. And I think much like we were able to discover that we were unprepared with the infrastructure in the face of something like COVID-19, I think conservatives are waking up to the reality that our supply chain, for lack of a better source, for our information is actually underdeveloped. So that means that we have to find better ways to get the word out there. Facebook is not going to be enough. Twitter is not going to be enough because they're not going to let us spread the good word. So we have to be more robust. Newsmax is part of that equation, but it can't be the only part of that equation. And so I think it's incumbent on us to get to work.
Joe, I've been working on this little secret project for the last few months. It's a decentralized social media platform. Wasn't quite ready to roll it out because I didn't expect them to show themselves this fast, but I am significant investor in a company called Liberty Centric. It's web-based. We have our own server farm. We do not rely on Amazon Web Services. We're not in the Apple iStore. So if you could, a little later on, check it out for me. It's called libertycentric.com. I've been starting to spread the word. We're actually working this week to order a whole batch of servers so that we can handle a bunch of people that want to come on. How scary is it, Joe, that the President of the United States can have his connectivity to 88 million people just ripped away from him by the whim of Jack Dorsey, the same guy who suppressed the news about Hunter Biden? It sure seems like Jack Dorsey is trying to run the world.
So here's what I'll say, right? I think, for better and for worse, does Twitter have the right to cancel his account? Sure. But the precedent it sets is so damaging and so dangerous. It actually makes you wonder why they're doing it, particularly with only 11 days at the time left in his presidency. So I think what's actually more scarier is this notion of Amazon basically saying we're not going to even host the back end of a site like Parler, perhaps basically making it impossible for the company to exist, as most companies are able to exist. And so think about this. It basically would be the equivalent right now of what we're facing. It's saying duck hunting is a human right, but all of the ducks reside in ponds that are 99% state-owned or privately owned, and you have to get a license in order to get access to those ponds. That is where we are right now, right? Freedom of speech doesn't mean anything if in a modern 21st century world, all of the conduits for speech are privately controlled and they can have their own rules and their own regulations.
Yeah.
And so go ahead.
Joey, if I had there was this big case where this bakery, I think in Arizona or Colorado, they didn't want to make a cake for a wedding between two gay folks, and they said that because they were a private business, they could decide that who they did and didn't want to do business with. And there was this whole thing that they were, villainized and everything else because they didn't want their private business to do business with people they didn't agree with philosophically or religiously. Isn't this the same case here, that they're basically canceling a whole group of people? I know it's a private company, but it's kind of like an equality case where, well, if you're a Republican, you can't use our business.
Well, I think really in many ways it is, you're right, except for the fact that being a Republican/conservative isn't a protected class to the level of being a minority is. And so I think perhaps maybe that's the reason I still have a Twitter account, because because they don't want to open themselves up to that level of liability.
Well,
but,
Joe, you're not black, according to Joe.
Well, according to Joe Biden. Joe Biden has spoken.
According to Joe Biden, right? I
mean, they'll just bring that to court and they'll be done with it.
It's unbelievable. It's really unbelievable. Oh man, Joe, listen, brother. Thank you so much. You're a breath of fresh air. I look forward to talking to you every week because my mind goes in so many directions, and you always put it in perfectly plain terms. I really appreciate you, my brother. I ask my audience to please tune into Newsmax, tune into the Saturday Agenda, and check out Joe online because he does some of the best stuff there is, and we all need your help. But, Joey, we need you as much as we can get. Thank you, bro.
I appreciate it. Talk soon.
Joe Pinion from Saturday Agenda. Quick break. Back after this. Hopefully Wayne King's going to be with us from Fidelis Government Relations right after this.